Welcome, mateys, to the world of histrionics. Exciting adventures in performance history, incredible tales from before the now. My name is Pirate Captain Stede Bonnet, and I've been asked to talk to you lot about pirates. Now, I wonder if anyone out there knows why it is that pirates are called pirates. Haha, that's right, because they are. I wonder if anyone knows what a pirate's favourite vegetable is. Artichokes. Haha. And does anyone know what a pirate's favourite letter of the alphabet is? Well, you might have said R, but my first love will always be the sea. I know, terrible jokes, but I did have occasion to use them way back in 1717, I think it was, when me and my pirate crew were trapped, battling 5 hours. 5 hours we battled in the mouth of the river of Cape Fear, 5 hours of cannons roaring, 5 hours of the sound of men shouting and steel clashing against steel. I used those jokes because I knew my men were upset. I knew they didn't want to have to fight there. I knew many of them were upset because they'd been wounded. I know many more of them were upset because they'd been killed. And I said, never fear, mateys, for though I was born as a member of the nobility, for though I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I have a heart of iron. And I will not desert you now. Have no fear, have no doubt. In fact, the only thing I do have true doubts about is whether or not I can keep up that ridiculous voice. How stupid, how utterly foolish and insane that I should have to pretend to be from Bristol to be considered as a serious pirate. There are pirates from more places than the West Country, you know. There are pirates from London, there are pirates from Scotland, there are pirates from America. Goodness me, perhaps the most famous pirate of them all, Sir Henry Morgan, was from Wales. Now there's lovely. And now, here's me with that ridiculous voice. Oh, you know, I'm not in fact even from any of those places I've just mentioned. No, and my name, by the way, is pronounced Stede Bonnet. And I was born in Barbados in 1688. Oh yes, a son of a rather wealthy gentleman. I am married to a handsome woman called Mary. I have 3 children. And I am, as I said, inheritor to a vast estate. For when my father died, I inherited acres upon acres of glorious, rich farmland, all of which exists for the growing of sugar cane. Now, I don't know if any of you out there grow sugar cane, but let me tell you one thing about it. The growing of sugar cane is absolutely and incredibly boring. It's so dull, so tedious. I hate it. It's all anyone ever talks about on Barbados. Oh, how much sugar cane did you grow last year? Oh, I see. How much sugar cane are you growing this year? Oh, how much sugar cane are you growing next year? No one cares. I hate it. Relentless tubes of beige tedium. Anyway, so there was it. Right, so rather bored with sugar cane, I decided, no, sugar, boring. I would become a pirate. Can you imagine sailing the 7 seas and having a series of incredible adventures? How far more interesting than staying at home and talking about sugar. So I spent my vast money on building an enormous ship. I named her the Revenge and gave her not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 guns. But I had no crew. Normally pirates are attracted to other pirate captains who have reputation, but I was just starting out. So I had an ingenious idea. Rather than allow the pirates to have a share of the treasure, a piece of the booty, whatever that means, I thought I would pay them wages. Oh yes, weekly wages for what is guaranteed more to encourage a crew of scurvy knaves than regular wages, a pension, and maybe insurance for accidents as well. Take-up was initially a little bit slow, but I did eventually get 70 crew, and eventually we set sail from Carlisle Bay for adventure. And it wasn't long before I realized that things were not as they should be. For a start, my crew, they were drunk and angry and mean. They would get into fights because one of them had lost a game of cards or dice. And the treasure was not the treasure I thought. No gold, no jewels. No, the main things apparently that pirates steal are spices and silk and sugar. Not sugar. There is no escape from its grainy evil. So, even though perhaps there was nothing I could do about that, and Sugar's constant pursuit of me, lurking around every corner, I could do something about the crew. I gathered them all around and we sat down on the deck in a nice circle. And I said, right now, lads, gentlemen, there'll be no more drinking of rum. No more quarter of a pint of rum a day. No alcohol on my ship. Oh, no. We know the constant drinking of it can addle the brain, and it's very bad for your figure. So instead, we'll be drinking this tea. Sweet, sweet cups of hot tea. The drink of the civilized gentleman. My first mate looked at me and said, "Is there rum in it?" Is there rum in it? Oh, no, not at all, I said. This hot tea will centre your soul and calm your body and mind. It is delicious. At which point, several of them started to eat the cups. So I said, all right, maybe we've started a little bit too soon with tea. Maybe I need to prepare your minds first, which is what these are for. Books. We will read these books, gentlemen. Oh, I will lend you copies from my own personal library that I have on this ship. And when you read, your brains and bodies will be taken to horizons new, that are different from the new big horizons that we can see from the ship. But these are book-related horizons, making you anywhere and anyone. My first mate looked at me and said, "Is there rum in it?" Is there rum? It's a no. It's a book. You read it with your eyes. There's no rum in it. You can't drink the rum. It's not. No, and that's sadly when the riot started. And I would have been very cross about the damage caused had we not been suddenly attacked. I don't know who it was, but they fired several cannons into the side of our ship. There were huge explosions, several men died, and I got teeny tiny splinters in my face. I know, there was no choice for it but to immediately sail away from the altercation and land in the pirate bay of Nassau, just so I could get some lovely ointment and plasters for my face. And it was whilst I was in Nassau that I met perhaps the most famous pirate of all, Blackbeard. Oh, yes, he lived up to his name. His beard was huge, enormous. He looked like a badger and attacked his face and then decided to stay there. And he had wound burning pieces of string match into his beard so it looked like the whole of his face was on fire. You'd never catch me doing that. No, health and safety nightmare. I remember the first words I said to him. I went up to him and said, "It's you. It's you, isn't it? You're Edward Teach, otherwise known as Blackbeard." He said, "Aye, that I be." I said, it's yes, I am, not that I be. And our relationship went downhill from there. My crew were rather impressed with him more than they were with me, and he became the pirate captain and took my ship from me, renaming it the Queen Anne's Revenge. I was forced to be a prisoner, a special guest, if you like. I wasn't allowed to carry a weapon. Instead, I wandered about the deck, dressed in my jimmy jams, drinking cups of tea and reading books and watching the pirates go about my business. But eventually, Blackbeard tired of me, and he ran away, fled, left, taking only all the supplies, the ammunition, the best weapons, and the best pirates. Still, I did have some crew left, and they were a bit dejected, but I decided we needed to spice things up a bit by having a spring clean and alphabetizing all of the supplies. We decided to do this in the river mouth of Cape Fear, which is where we were attacked by the governor's forces. 5 hours. 5 hours of fighting, of cannons roaring, of the clash of steel on steel, and the shouting of men. And eventually that battle paused after 5 hours, not because either side won, not because anyone was victorious at all, but because the tide went out, and both ships became grounded on sandbanks. They were leaning, you see, like this. We couldn't really shoot at one another at all. In fact, the cannons, if you attempted to fire one, went straight up in the air, a ball all the way to the sky, and the balls would come straight back down and crash right through the deck, destroying it and possibly injuring the men. And that's a mistake you only make 4 times. Men that had been shooting at each other only moments before were now feet away from one another, sort of waving and feeling slightly awkward. Hello, I'm going to try and shoot at you later when the water comes back. Yes, you as well. Good. On the same page. So, the battle paused, but I told my men that I was convinced that they could acquit themselves nobly. I told them that I would not desert them, and we would fight to the end, no matter how many minutes it would take. We would fight on. And then maybe, just maybe, we might sit on the deck, as I asked before, get out a nice book, have a good read, and all enjoy a cup of tea. No sugar, though. Now, I know many of you out there will be impressed by my stories of piracy and of my life. It might be difficult for you in this day and age to become a pirate, but if you are, you need to be careful. You need to make sure you're properly equipped. Make sure you have a long coat on like the one that I do here. Make sure indeed that you are armed indeed with one of these fine items. Ooh, yes, a sword, but not just any sword. Maybe a cutlass or one like this, which is called a hanger. It's very straight, but nice and short, which means it doesn't get caught in the rigging and the sails. That's why a cutlass is curved. So if you're fighting on deck and you do get stuck, you can pull it out quite easily. Remember, all that treasure you want, it's not gold, it's not jewels. All of those ships carrying gold and jewels and silver are really well protected with loads and loads and loads of guns on their ships. No. Go after easy prey. If you want to, go for the sugar. But if not, then silk and spices and food. They won't be so well protected, those items, on a ship. They won't have a huge military escort, and then you can sell on those items later, or just eat them yourself. Up to you. And pirate flags. Very, very important. I've heard a rumour that people think that you all have the same flag. Not true at all. No, it's not just one called the Jolly Roger. There are lots of designs, skulls and crossbones and skeletons with spears and swords. Maybe you could spend some time at home designing your own pirate flag. If you've got nothing to do, that is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I can hear the kettle boiling and coming to fruition, so I have to be off for tea. So, thank you for watching, everybody out there. We'll see you all again very, very soon here on Histrionics with somebody else talking about their life and incredible adventures. Stay safe.